I am Isabella. I am a grandmother who tells this story. Tonight the rain sings on the roof. The house is quiet. The clock speaks in slow breaths. I sit by the window with a warm cup in my hands. My heart walks back to a spring from many years ago. In those days the town was small. The streets were bright with flowers. The river moved like a silver ribbon. I was young. I worked in a little bookshop near the square. Every morning I opened the wooden door, and the bell said hello. One day a man stepped inside. His shoes were dusty. His eyes were kind. He held a notebook close to his chest. He looked at the shelves as if they were old friends. I asked if he needed help. He smiled and said he was looking for a story that could teach him how to stay. His name was Matteo. He was a traveler who had grown tired of leaving. We talked about books. We talked about dreams. The bell forgot to ring as time slipped by. When he left he said he would return the next day. And he did. Days became a gentle rhythm. He would sit by the window. I would bring tea. He wrote in his notebook while I arranged the shelves. Sometimes he would read a page to me. His words were simple yet full of light. They felt like a promise. One evening the power went out. The town fell into soft darkness. We lit candles in the shop. The shadows danced on the walls. Matteo read a story about a river that never stopped loving the shore. I felt my heart listen in a way it never had before. When the lights came back he closed the notebook and looked at me. He asked if I believed that two people could choose the same path without fear. I said yes. My voice was small but sure. Summer arrived with warm winds. The square filled with music. Matteo took my hand and we walked among the lanterns. He told me he wanted to stay in our town. He wanted to build a life that would not run away. I told him my dream was a home with a garden where stories could grow. He laughed with joy. He said we could plant both flowers and words. But life is not only soft songs. One morning a letter arrived for Matteo. His face changed as he read. A job far away had called him back. It was a chance he had chased for years. The train would leave in 3 days. We sat by the river that night. The water moved with quiet strength. I asked what his heart wanted. He said his heart wanted me. He said he was afraid to lose the chance he had worked for. I felt a storm rise inside me. Love asks for courage. So does letting go. I told him he should go. I told him dreams must be faced with open eyes. If our story was true it would find a way back. He held my hands and kissed them with care. We promised to write letters. The train left at dawn. The whistle cut the air. I watched until the last car disappeared. The town felt empty for a while. I opened the shop each day. I watered the small plant on the window. I waited. His letters came like small suns. He wrote about long days and new streets. He wrote about missing the sound of our bell. I wrote about the river and the shop and the way the sky looked at sunset. Months turned into a year. One winter a letter did not come. Then another week passed. Fear sat beside me at the table. I prayed for a sign. Snow fell in quiet sheets. On a cold evening the bell rang. I looked up. Matteo stood in the doorway with a suitcase and the same kind eyes. He said the world was wide but his home was here. He said he chose us. I ran to him. The shop felt warm again. We laughed. We cried. The plant by the window seemed to stand taller. We married in spring. The square was full of music. Friends filled the air with cheers. We turned the bookshop into a place where people could share their stories. Matteo wrote a book about a river and a shore. He dedicated it to me. Years moved with gentle steps. We planted a garden behind our home. Roses climbed the fence. Children grew in the laughter of our rooms. Matteo grew older with grace. His hair turned silver like the river in the sun. One night he held my hand and said our story had been his favorite place. He closed his eyes with peace. My heart broke and healed at the same time. Love does that. Now I sit by the window as the rain sings. The clock speaks in slow breaths. I tell this story so you will know that love is a choice made again and again. Love is patience. Love is courage. Love is the quiet promise to stay even when the road is long. If you listen closely, you may hear the bell of a small shop. You may see a river that never stops loving the shore. And you may feel the warmth of a hand that chooses yours. That is my story. That is our song.